Hello everyone, welcome back to Luxury Pro. I'm Pallavi Sehgal, and today's video again is not about anything happening in the luxury landscape. No updates about that. But yes, today's video is more about a project that I did with my team members on Hermes and creating a shared ecosystem through Hermes as a main brand. So let's dive more into that. Hermes needs absolutely no introduction, but with respect to what our project entails, I would like to say that 50% of the revenue of Hermes comes from leather products, which is mainly sourced from Australia, South Africa, and United States. So let's dive deep into what challenges the luxury industry is facing today, especially with respect to sustainability and circularity. Because for our project, that was the goal that we chose, the United Nations SDG 12, which was about sustainable production and consumption. Now, luxury industry has both internal challenges as well as external challenges. Internal challenges are there are sustainability clashes within the short-term goals and the use of expensive resources. And the external challenges are that we have a lot of consumers who are concerned with the sustainability issues, and they're willing to spend more for alternatives to the animal leather. Let's focus on Hermes now. When we see the price and the exclusivity matrix, Hermes sits right at the top. Hermes is already the number one in that. So where does Hermes go from here? What do we envision for Hermes, and what's our proposal for Hermes? Our proposal is two initiatives with respect to sustainable production and consumption. Now, first initiative is regarding circularity, where we propose that Hermes introduces a channel for pre-owned Hermes products. And second is regarding sustainability, wherein we propose that it reduces animal leather by 50% by 2050. What's going to be the impact? Now, let's see the impact in both terms, in terms of sustainable production and in terms of sustainable consumption. In terms of sustainable production, it's going to be direct and indirect. With the direct impact, we are talking about environment, customers, and the stakeholders in the supply chain. With indirect impact, we are talking about an industry shift, because Hermes, being one of the leaders in the luxury industry, whatever Hermes does and is able to kind of uh, be profitable in that initiative, it's going to initiate a shift in terms of the entire luxury industry, and competitors, big and small, are going to follow that initiative in one way or the other. And secondly, this is also going to help the entire fashion industry move away from the animal leather, move away from fashion collections just for the sake of fashion collections. So hopefully it helps the entire fashion industry move away from the fast fashion categories that are so popular these days. I'm sorry, let's talk about sustainable consumption. So when we are talking about sustainable consumption, we are talking about the alternative to animal leather, and we are also talking about circular consumption, as we discussed in the two initiatives that we are proposing to Hermes. So who are the stakeholders involved? Hermes is right at the center of it. We have internal stakeholders and we have external stakeholders. When let's start with Hermes right at the center of it. Now, in terms of a study that was done by Howard Business Review, it is said that uh, the luxury industry is not exactly known for sustainability. Those two things don't match, but somehow the sustainability within the luxury industry is very closely associated to authenticity, and here we see that Hermes has an edge. Why? Because Hermes is known for its authenticity. Hermes is known for its craftsmanship. Coming to the second stakeholder, which is an important one, that is the employees. Now, employees usually are the face of a brand, and even more so in the luxury industry. Now, what Hermes can do is have it as it's moving away from animal leather and as it's introducing circularity, it can have its employees play an active role in educating and communicating with the consumers, with the suppliers, and the external stakeholders. With respect to suppliers, we know that Hermes has been undertaking upward vertical integration for a couple of years now. What needs to be done is that it needs to reassure its suppliers so that they do not move away from Hermes towards its competitors. And also, Hermes needs to make sure that the suppliers know that these are the initiatives that Hermes is taking, and so that the suppliers know about that beforehand and stick to Hermes and they can work together on these main initiatives. Moving to the customers as stakeholders. Now, the global head of luxury at Boston Consulting Group said that luxury consumers are changing. COVID was the first time that a lot of people realized that their individual actions have societal consequences. Now, when we talk about luxury consumers, the Gen Z and the millennials are the growth segments, and 70% of and will comprise of 70% of the luxury consumers by 2025. And they are the ones who are very focused on circularity and sustainability, but at the same time they're also very focused on fast fashion. So there is a paradigm here wherein everybody is trying to find a balance. But what's important for us to know is that Gen Z and millennials are the growth segments, and that there is a shift that is underway, and Hermes with these two initiatives gets to be at the forefront of the change. Let's talk about the stakeholders in a multi-stakeholder initiative. Now, when we're talking about the external stakeholders, we propose that Hermes launches a multi-stakeholder initiative with the environmental groups, with the animal rights activists, the government, and the competitors, with a vision of a society that takes the first steps to move away from animal leather and the harmful effects of the processes involved, and takes the concept of sustainable production and consumption to the next level. This brings us to our two initiatives. One was circularity, wherein we are proposing a second-hand marketplace, and we can see that it is good for the world because there are going to be no additional raw materials that are going to be sourced at this rate, at the present rate of consumption. But at the same time, it's also good for Hermes because we know that Hermes bags cost almost 50 to 100% more in the second-hand marketplace rather than at the original Hermes shops. So, by taking this initiative, Hermes is actually diving deep into this particular initiative, which is actually something that the consumer also wants. It's just that the consumer research has suggested that the consumer actually wants to buy the second-hand products from the brands themselves rather than from third-place marketplaces like maybe Real or Vista or Collective. This will also give Hermes a tighter quality control and treasury options. With respect to the second-hand marketplace, we know that the model works because we have groups like Richmond, which acquired Watchfinder and Company, which is a pre-owned marketplace. And a few days back, it also came out with the news that it's going to extend this model and launch an external marketplace within the model. Like Watchfinder usually buys products from the customers and then authenticates and sells it on its own. But then it's also going to provide people a marketplace option wherein it will still make sure that it's authenticating the products. So this is a model. This model is also evolving. So Hermes already has models that it can look at, and Hermes already has things that it can take from these models, incorporate, and launch its own second-hand channel, basically. So what's the goal of this? It's to recapture value of the entire product life cycle. The KPI is going to be second-hand marketplace share, and the milestone is going to be like within 5 years to reach 50% of that market share. And our second initiative that we had proposed was about the alternative to animal leather. Now, that means we are distinguishing it as how it can be good for Hermes and how it can be good for the world, because the project was about creating shared value. So for Hermes, it's going to be about increased product prestige by using proprietary materials. It allows for more flexibility for product designs like color, texture, and shape for better quality. And it also creates a synergy with official second-hand channel for profitability. How it's going to be good for the world, because the increased utilization of sustainable man-made leather is going to be in production for the first time by a major luxury brand. It's going to offer more working opportunities at the company level that values DEI. And then it's going to leverage Hermes' leadership in luxury to encourage sustainable production and consumption at all levels. So let's look into the goals, KPI, and the milestones. Goals are going to be that it needs to be timely deliverable. We are taking 2050 as the year by which Hermes makes a move uh, towards more than 50% of its products away from animal leather. It needs to be socially beneficial, which we believe that the initiative is. It needs to be economically viable, which we have seen that there is research that suggests that this initiative is going to be economically viable, and we have a lot of companies that are focusing on alternative animal leather. The KPIs is going to be the year in development, the jobs created, and the EBIT. And the milestones are that develop Hermes leather by 2040, create 200 jobs by 2050, and the EBIT increases by at least 3% annually. And before closing in on this, we would like to say, like Steve Jobs used to say, or like we can say Columbo used to say in in the series, that one more thing. And it's going to be about how when these initiatives are undertaken, it's going to be about CSR. It's going to be partnership at all levels. It's going to be about a multi-stakeholder initiative with all stakeholders involved, internal and external, and how it's going to create partnerships with local governments and animal protective services. It's going to be about relocating animals from human inhabited places to safe sanctuaries, protecting human lives, and it's going to be adopting endangered species. So that's it. That's our proposal for Hermes, our two initiatives for Hermes. Hope you have enjoyed this proposal and keep tuned in for more.